Okay, so now let's start off with sources. Any electrical circuit, it would need to provide some energy to the coulombs or the charges. So for this purpose, there are sources, batteries for example, in the common language. We use batteries to provide energy to the charges. So there are four types of batteries or sources known in electrical circuits. The first one is this, the independent voltage source. The meaning of independent voltage source is it has a value specified obviously, which for example here if it's 12 volts, it just tells you that the potential difference between point A and point B is 12 volt, meaning every charge leaving the positive terminal is being provided with this amount of energy. And the reason of it being independent is it is independent to the value of current. Basically it can have any amount of current flowing from its positive terminal and it would still have this amount of voltage. So this is what an independent voltage is. So whenever you see an independent voltage source in a circuit, just remember that the potential difference between point A and point B would be 12 volts and the current would as conventionally be leaving through the positive terminal. The second source is the independent current source. Independent current source just tells you that the current passing through this source is 2 amps. So the entire circuit, whatever it is, the current through this source in this direction, obviously, conventionally, it would be 2 amps. Now the reason why this is called independent is it can have any voltage across it, but the current passing would still be 2 amperes. So whenever you see this kind of source, just remember that this current is 2 amperes or whatever the value specified is. Third one is the dependent voltage source. The dependent voltage source has a diagonal symbol, and what this means is that the value of the voltage, it is dependent on some other value in the circuit. For example, if there is a resistor and it has a potential difference of Vx across it, and I write the value of the source as 0.5 Vx, that would mean that the value of the potential difference between point A and point B is 0.5 Vx. So this is what our dependent voltage source is. The dependent current source would use the same current, but the same concept, but with current that the value of current in the source is dependent on another element in the circuit. So these are the four types of sources that we would use in circuit theory. Okay, so now let me demonstrate all the concepts we have learned in the previous video through a big example. We have a circuit and we need to find the power in every element here. So how many elements are there? This is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, this is the fourth one, and this is the fifth one. So now let's just start from the left side. Here we have a current going here, 7 amps is the value. For power, we need basically the current entering the positive terminal. So the positive terminal is up, so the current entering would be coming down. So as the current going up is 7 amps, the current going down would be the negative to that. So it's minus 7 multiplied by the potential difference, which is 8. So that would mean it is minus 56 watts. In the second element, the current is going down 2 amps. So basically it is here going down 2 amps. The current entering the positive terminal, which is upside, it is 2 amps. So we can just use 2 multiplied by 8, which is 16 watt. In the third element, the current is going from left to right, and we have a voltage here with a negative sign. So for the current entering the positive terminal, it will be minus 5. So minus 5 multiplied by the potential difference, which is 12, which is minus 60 watts. So we just need the currents entering the positive terminal. Here in the element 4, the positive terminal is up and the current entering is 8 amps clearly. So it is 8 multiplied by 20, which means 160 watts. In the last element, it is a dependent current source with the value of 0.25 Vx. Now what is Vx? I have termed here, this is Vx. Vx is basically the same as 12 volts clearly. It is the potential difference between these 2 points. So the value of the dependent source would be 0.25 into 12, which is 3 amperes. So the fifth one is the current going from up to down is 3 amperes. This is clearly the current entering the positive terminal. So 3 multiplied by 20, which means 60 watts. So these are the powers in all elements. As I said in the previous video, negative power means that this thing is basically supplying the power. So the element number 1 is supplying power, element number 3 is supplying power, all the other 3 elements, they are consuming power. So in a nutshell, what you do is for calculating power, just find the current entering the positive terminal. So I'll just repeat again. In the first element, the current is going from down to up. So it is actually leaving the positive terminal. So to get the current entering the positive terminal, it is the negative of that. So just minus 7 multiplied by 8. So this is how you solve problems related to power.